Hello everyone and welcome to another flight review video. In today's video I will be flying from Paris to Raleigh in Delta's economy class on the 767-400. If you watched one of my previous flight reviews being Mauritius to Paris, this is the flight that came directly after that one. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we arrived in Hall K of Terminal 2E. We had to take the SkyTrain from Hall K to Hall M, which is also technically part of Terminal 2E. This is because Hall M is usually where Delta operates their flights from. Prior to entering a new terminal or hall, you must go through a security line. Since it was so early in the morning at Paris airport, the security line was very fast. We quickly went through and began to relax in the terminal. Our flight from Mauritius landed a little bit before 6 a.m., so the airport was practically empty. We had about a 5-hour layover in the airport before it was time to board the Delta flight. Meanwhile, I watched planes take off and land as well as pull up to the gate. Now, I have taken flights out of all three of the halls in Terminal 2E, and I will say Hall M is definitely my favorite so far. It's very spacious and breathable. They had this really cool interactive map that showed the restaurants, gates, and much more found inside the hall. They even had multiple PS5s that you could play on. But soon enough, our aircraft began pulling up to the gate, and something unexpected happened. As the 767 pulled up to the gate, I noticed a pink stripe on it, and that reminded me of the breast cancer research aircraft that Delta had. So it looks like today we're flying on a special livery aircraft. About an hour before boarding commenced, they called everyone to get their passports checked. I'm not completely sure why, as this doesn't usually happen to me when I'm traveling back into the US, but it was a quick process anyways, and they were very nice about it. Today's flight will be leaving from gate M47. Now, things got a little bit awkward. Boarding started and we were towards the end of the line. I went up to scan my boarding pass, and instead of the light turning green, it turned red. I tried again a couple more times and it just would not turn green. They pulled me aside and said the computer selected me for a random security check. Now, I've heard this happen to other people before, but I've never understood exactly how or why they do it. They just choose random people to do the security checks on. So I had to do the same procedures as a normal security check, where you take all electronics out of your bag, take your shoes off, all of that kind of stuff. Now, I thought it was a bit unnecessary, but I know they got to do what they got to do. And then I began to board. In fact, I was probably the second to last or so person to board the plane. For this flight, I was seat 53F, which is a window seat on the right side of the airplane. But now that we're on the plane, let's get in the sky and head home.
The power of one may be strong, but the power of 80,000, it's unstoppable. And today,
So, as usual, now that we're in the air, let's do the seat review. Here's the screen compared to the size of my hand. It definitely isn't the biggest, but we'll get to that later. I'd say the tray table is pretty good overall, but I just wish it was a little bit longer. The seat back pocket is huge with plenty of space for any of your personal items. And of course, it includes the aircraft safety book. I am 6 foot and there's probably an inch or two of legroom to spare. Next, let's talk about the in-flight entertainment. It starts off with a nice good morning message with all your details. And in terms of viewing your flight route, I would say Delta has one of the best and basic configurations. It's clean and simple and nothing gets in the way. There's an amazing selection of movies, including the Creed series and Marvel movies. Same goes with the shows. Otherwise, I would say Delta's IFE is definitely up there with some of my favorite airline IFEs. Of course, it also included other things such as games, music, and more. Now, the seat itself is very wide and comfortable, especially here on Delta 767 with the 2-3-2 configuration. I almost forgot to mention that shortly before takeoff, the flight attendants gave us this travel kit. It included things such as a sleeping mask and earplugs, but it was time for lunch. First, they came around and gave us some wooden utensils, which I like that they're utilizing, and a small bottle of water. The lunch consisted of chicken, broccoli, what seemed to be macaroni and cheese, a salad, and ice cream. Oh yeah, and of course, a drink of your choice. I would say it definitely tasted pretty good. Some parts of the chicken I thought were a little dry, but other than that, I thought it was great, but definitely not as good as the food I got on the Air France flight before this. In addition to this meal being served on this flight, there were plenty of snacks, coffee, and drinks in the back galley. I went ahead and got Delta's classic Biscoff cookies as well as some orange juice. Then, after getting some rest and watching the entirety of the Creed series, we were about a little over halfway there. A lot of the flight was turbulent as we were traveling westward over the Atlantic, and because of that, the seatbelt sign was on for most of the flight, but when it turned off, I went ahead and did the bathroom review. First off, I will say it feels much cleaner than on some other airlines, and I like the touch of LED lighting. Of course, you got all the essentials like the water tap, paper towels, toilet paper, etc. There was also a clothing hook. I tried to go to different bathrooms over the span of the flight to see if any of them had different sizes, and the ones in the back of the plane are bigger than the ones that are over the wings, at least here on the 767. And now, around an hour or two before landing, it was time for the next meal/snack. It included an Asian chicken spring roll as well as a double chocolate mousse. I thought it was alright. I mean, it wasn't my favorite. I just thought something was a little bit off with it. But that's about it for the in-flight details. So now it's time to land in Raleigh.
Raleigh down. This being your first point of entry, where the local time is approximately 2:04 p.m. Please stay seated with your seatbelt securely fastened and your carry-on items stored until the captain has done off his time.
Welcome to Raleigh-Durham International Airport. Immediately after you walk off the plane, you have to go on a long hallway that goes to customs. It depends how long it took you to get off the plane on how long customs will take you. For us, since we were at the back of the plane, customs took quite a while. They only had 2 stations open, but they did what they could. Anyways, overall, I would give this flight an 8 out of 10. If you want to see more detailed ratings, check out the description below. But that's it for this one, guys. Stay tuned for more flight reviews in the future, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.